Beth Ann.
What's up? I'm Ayla.
This is Let's Talk BL, a boys love podcast.
It's Sunday. Welcome back to the podcast. It is that day of the week when we talk about one series and one series only. So if you have not watched this series, turn back or prepare to be spoiled, or just, watch the series.
Yeah.
Which I can't imagine that anyone has not seen at least one episode of this series.
Yeah, we're doing something. We're like covering another type of series. We've done short film Sunday. We've done like trailer Sunday.
Trailer?
Well, because we did Summer Days trailer and short film.
Right, that was one thing.
It was like
that's
all
not
in
two
one
different
thing.
things. Calm down.
We've done series. We need to do, I guess it has to, it doesn't have to be anything, but we could do movie Sunday at some point.
No, it has to
be serial.
Yes.
Okay.
It has to be like an alliteration.
Oh, yeah.
So, no.
So then maybe a Monday we'll do movie Monday.
No, we're not going to be doing that.
Okay, we're talking Close Friend. I think it was like a web series. I guess that's what you would consider it. It's a series of episodes.
I mean, technically, if you're an international fan, all of these are web series. So
it's true. It's true. Okay, so the nuts and bolts. It came out in 2021. It's 6 episodes. It's available on YouTube via View, right? Is that the name of the company? And the synopsis is short but sweet. 6 different pairs of men who experience 6 different forms of love. And each episode is associated with like a music video that was like part of an artist that was affiliated with the company that like put this whole thing together.
Yeah, so the deal with Close Friend is very similar to like Our Sky, if you watch that, in that each episode sort of like features a different couple, but it's unique in that like each episode is a completely different like story. Right. They do not tie together. So this is not like a Why Destiny kind of thing where each episode is a different couple, but they all tie together. In this, each episode is a different couple and the stories do not tie together.
Right.
Until we get to season 2, which is about to come out.
I know. So this is going to be so interesting.
They've kind of decided to cross over, but in season 1, none of the stories relate to each other.
Right. They're very,
although we now know, based on the synopsis of season 2, that they are all in the same universe. Yeah, so like they all exist in the same world.
Right. Which is funny because they have nothing to do with each other.
Right.
Okay, so let's get started with like the first episode. It's called Pretend to Love, and it stars
OhmFluke.
OhmFluke. This was such an interesting these are such interesting characters for OhmFluke because all I knew about them going in, of course, was Until We Meet Again.
Right.
And those characters are so strong and so specific and like just so like when I think OhmFluke, I think Until We Meet Again.
So I didn't watch Close Friend until way later.
Right.
And so I had actually seen a lot of other stuff that Fluke had done already. So I wasn't coming into it only knowing specifically Fluke from Until We Meet Again.
Right.
I did only know Ohm from Until We Meet Again, but I knew I had seen all of Fluke's other stuff because I think Until We Meet Again is such a masterpiece.
Did you know that Ohm and Singto did a drama?
Like as a couple? Like they were shipped? Oh, okay. No. I was like, no, I did not know they were shipped.
They were love rivals with a girl.
Oh.
I think they played brothers, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But so I knew Fluke.
Yeah.
I had seen him in other roles.
Right.
So this, I think, wasn't as jarring for me to watch.
Right.
Because Fluke is a really, like, he's a very diverse actor. Like, he has played lots of different kinds of characters, and he does an amazing job at Fluke is an actor, right? Like, Fluke is like an artiste. Like, this is not something, acting, I think so often we hear in, especially like the Thai BL world, these boys kind of like fell into it, right? You hear that old story, and they kind of tease each other a little bit about like, oh, they found you at Siam.
Yeah.
Right?
Or you were a cute face on the internet.
Yeah. Like you were Cute Boy Thailand, which again, sometimes very well deserved. Like shout out my main man Sua for that one. Yeah. Like, he absolutely is the cutest boy in Thailand and we all need to see him every single day.
Yeah.
But the joke is, and you saw this, or we saw this when we were talking to Ohm and Nanan, that when they were talking about sort of like how they got into the industry, Nanon told the story about how he got into GMMTV, which was like he got scouted at the temple.
Yeah.
And then when Ohm started telling his story, immediately Nanon like whispers. And so if you didn't catch this in the interview, I actually recommend like going and watching it again because it's a really funny moment.
It's cute.
He like whispers and he's like, Siam, right?
Yeah.
And he starts laughing.
Everyone knows that
you
spot an Ohm across the mall and you're like, that boy needs to be on film.
Right. There are just like scouts in Siam.
It's like
just,
very
looking for the cute boys.
Very Jin from BTS. It's like you see a cute boy, you put him in a TV show.
Right. And the same thing happened with First from of Don't Say No.
Yeah.
Or of Don't Say No.
Yeah.
But with Fluke, that's not what happened.
Right.
Fluke is very much like he went to school for acting.
Yeah.
He is like Fluke is legitimately like a serious actor.
Right.
And so I think for me, this wasn't as like jarring of a role to watch him play because I was like, oh, this makes sense. I believe Fluke in this role.
This was also, I think this series was the first of its kind that really took known ships. Like it's so appropriate that we're doing this the week after our ships episode because this was very much a vehicle for people to just see these ships again. And I think for people to I think maybe for them to see what type of popularity they could garner by literally just like creating stories that showcased these ships in a plot.
But I will say they're all really different. So the storyline with specifically OhmFluke's episode, which is what we're talking about right now, and they come back in season 2. So season 2 is filming. And so Ohm's character is a music producer and he's had this opportunity to like go produce music for like this big fancy like pop star. And Fluke's character is still in college. So they're dating, they're living together. Oh, they're also an established couple. You meet them as an established couple, which is really interesting.
They've been together for what, like 3 years? Yeah.
Right. So they celebrate their 3rd anniversary within this storyline.
So cute.
And so Ohm's character gets this opportunity to go produce music for this big fancy pop star. And you kind of see that they're just at 2 different points in their lives now, as frequently will happen with couples that get together in college, especially if one of them is older, because one will graduate and they get a job and they grow up.
And that year after college is truly the most surreal because you're all of a sudden your whole world shifts and it makes no sense how it's so dramatic, but it truly is.
Well, and we see this also in So Does S.
Yeah.
So this is like it's a similar sort of like struggle in as what we see in So Does S. And so he's off, he's producing music. Fluke is living his like best, like he's in college, living his little life. He's partying. Yeah. And they kind of you see them get in little tiffs about little things, right? Like Fluke has been out partying and Ohm's character is like, how dare you?
He's bringing home the bacon.
He's like, he's like, I thought you weren't going to party so much and blah, blah, blah. And then Fluke's character is feeling very abandoned as a boyfriend, as a partner in this couple because he feels like Ohm's character is always at work. And it's like, it's a really interesting, and basically what you're doing is you're watching them fall out of love or you're watching them struggle to stay in love.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, the song that Ohm has written for this little pop star boy, who by the way is like, I mean, if you have the choice between Fluke and this pop star boy, it's very confusing to me as to like why this is even a choice. I guess is what I will say about it. And but the song that Ohm has written and is producing for this pop star boy is basically like the lyrics are like, can you just say you love me and pretend like you mean it?
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, I know that you don't love me anymore and I know we're not in love, but like I still want us to be in love. So let's pretend, let's fake it.
This was such an interesting role for Fluke too, because it's nothing I've seen him do before. He's usually like very dramatic and very like deep and dark. And this was very like almost like bratty, but like he does a lot of whining in this. And like he's very like, almost immature in a way, which is not something we see from Fluke. Because even Fluke, I think, as a person is a very mature kind of.
Fluke's a grown up. Like, I think
Yeah.
a lot of people, and the same thing happens with Kuhart,
He's
right?
a tiny boy, but he's like, yeah, an
and
adult.
because he tends to play younger characters
Right.
because he looks younger. Like,
Yeah.
people forget Fluke is 30.
I don't know.
I think Fluke is 30.
Oh.
Yeah. So, like, people forget that Fluke is like a grown up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Fluke actually is like a very mature, and again, he's an actor. Like, this is his craft. This is his job.
Yeah.
And so
Let's find out.
yeah, it's a really interesting character for Fluke because he's playing kind of like a whiner.
Yeah. He's 25.
25. Oh, okay.
Yeah. A 96er. But yeah, he's been in the industry for at least like 10 years now.
Right. He's been doing it. That's another
Forever.
thing. People forget Fluke has been doing this forever.
Yeah. He does have the range, and yeah, when I think these boys who go to acting school, like an Ohm or an Anon, like they until they like do something in the BL scene, of course, because we're like the BL fans, like that's what we know. And until they do something like big, and that one thing that they do big, like you kind of narrow in on that one thing. So when you do see these boys show up repeatedly, you're like, oh, this is so interesting. They can do more. They have done more when you delve a little deeper, because we love to do our research, and we love to like. I especially love when I find an actor that I love, like I'll deep dive into them and I'll like watch everything that they've done. And so, yeah, the range that these boys have.
But so basically what continues on to happen is Ohm's character is at work more and more, and he's like with this boy, and you can see he's kind of a little bit starting to fall for this pop star boy, or at least that's the implication. And he misses their anniversary, which again, like, how dare you? Like, honestly,
Really,
this episode is so interesting because you go into it and you're like, wow, Fluke's character is being really unreasonable.
Yeah.
And then when Ohm's character misses their anniversary, I mean, truly, you're like, okay, no, now he's being unreasonable. And so, like, it's one of those very much like a Game Boys was for me, where it's like, I can see it from both sides. And like, or like an Itse. Like, for an Itse, it was really hard for me to be mad at one or the other for how they were behaving, because they were both just going through something. And so in this case, they're not both going through something, but it's like they both have wronged their partner in a different way.
And their priorities are different, because Ohm Pierce played by Ohm. This is his first big job, right? And so he is very one-track mind focused, whereas Fluke's character Typhoon, his focus is more so their relationship, and that's what's kind of in the front of his mind at this point. And so like when their focuses are two different things, the weight of missing an anniversary dinner is going to be bigger to Typhoon than it is to Pierce, because
I mean, it's also like, it's your third, like, you don't miss an anniversary dinner that's been planned. Like, sorry, I'm not gonna give him
we don't know if it's been planned,
any like weight of responsibility. And like, no, none of that. Like, we are not sympathetic to this. No.
Fluke always needs to be taken care of.
No, here's the thing, like, I think that like anybody who's in a long-term relationship, right, it's like, no, there are some days like sorry, there's just really not an excuse to
priority
miss. Like, it's not about like like he's working and the priorities, like, no, like maybe the other 364 days of the year right, or 363, but like not, there are like a couple days that like, sorry, you don't really get leeway on that. And so he misses this anniversary dinner, and Fluke's character Typhoon shows up at like his work and kind of there's a little bit of a fit, and you're like, oh God. And he happenstance says the words that are the exact lyrics in the song. So like upon first watch, I was like, ooh, this is how you know they're really like, they've fallen out of love, right? Is that like they're both feeling the same way, they're both feeling like they're not in love anymore. But upon my second watch, I realized, and so then like he says the words, and then Ohm's character kisses him, and it's like whatever. But the second time I watched it through, I was like, no, you know what happened here is Ohm's character realized they were still a perfect fit, because like, even though they were in different places, they were still feeling the same thing, and they were still connected enough to literally like be finishing each other's sentences,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
unbeknownst to
Yeah.
them. So it actually just shows like how strong their connection is.
It was a recommitment to make the relationship work, even though they were in very different seasons of life.
Right.
Yeah. I liked this episode. It was pretty surprising to me, coming from Until We Meet Again, like how different these characters were. And so that was the one thing about this episode that I was like, oh, this is so different and so
Right.
interesting. But I like this episode.
Okay, next episode.
This is such an interesting experience. So it's called Just Friend, and it stars Ja as Zin and First as Mujum the cat.
Mujum the cat.
Can we
And
just talk about
shout out
first?
Shout out William.
Oh, yes,
Because
yes.
harken back to our interview with JaFirst, and we were really excited to talk about Close Friend with them.
Yes.
Kind of like how we were really excited, again, to talk about Until We Meet Again with Ja with the wig. We were really excited to talk to First about this cat situation.
Because he killed it.
He's amazing as a cat. And also, like, I think at this point, like, we like our jokes.
Yeah.
And, like, I think it's probably pretty obvious we, like, pre-plan some of the jokes. Some of them just happen. Some of them genuinely are off the cuff.
Yeah.
But, like, we do practice, like, we're professionals, right? And so, like, we do, like, we'll go through our questions and we'll go through, like, whatever to prepare.
And to just, like, get the nerves out.
Respectful.
Yeah.
And so we were just, like, really excited to make this joke about, like, did you give Pobger the cat any advice? Like, this joke, like, there are some jokes, like, that we just get so excited about making. And, like, sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. And, like, you guys will see there's one on our interview with the You're My Sky cast. That I was just like determined to make it. Like literally I deliver this line like 3 times because I'm like, no, we are gonna make this work. And so similarly with First and Ja, like you were really committed to this did you give Pobger advice joke. Like you were you really wanted this joke to hit. Like this was your Sua moment.
Because the cat was such an important role in Don't Say No. And the fact that First had played a cat character was like, I just thought this will be funny, like this will make so much sense.
It made no sense.
However,
we
hadn't explained the context to William, and William is like truly a professional. He's so good at like translating for us because he wants to know the context so he can clearly translate it, because that's what I've seen a lot in translator notes on Twitter is that they're like, sometimes we just can't translate this for you because it won't make sense. Even if we do like word for word, we need to give you context. And so it like completely went over our heads that we needed to explain to William, like First played a cat.
He played a cat, like an actual, like he played the character of a cat. And so shout out William before we get into this episode for on the fly trying to figure out what it was we were talking about when we said, did you give Pobger the cat any advice? Also shout out First because like it didn't quite get translated properly. And he gave like a really cute answer to talking about like playing the cat.
Yeah.
And I mean, truly
the sweetest.
This man, you guys, I have said before that First deserves like an Emmy.
An Oscar.
He deserves an Emmy, a Grammy. He deserves to EGOT. Truly, I believe in my heart of hearts that First deserves to EGOT.
True.
And like part of like one of the things that he should like receive an award in is for playing a cat, because like this man makes you so emotionally invested in him as a cat, and he plays the mannerisms of a cat.
It's wild.
So well.
Okay,
it's insane.
The plot line of this, speaking of explaining the plot line, is that a friend of Ja's character, Sing, drops off his cat. He's leaving town and he gives Ja the cat.
He's been abandoned.
Which I feel like is true to life. Like if I needed to give away an animal, like I think I'd go to Ja.
I might go to like I might go to Luke of GMMTV. I feel like he's doing a really good job with his bunnies.
With the bunnies.
He's got like this little bunny family.
I mean,
I also might go to Tool.
Yeah, I think before long, Earth Mix might just have a whole cat.
They're gonna have a cattery.
Yeah.
They're gonna have a cattery. They're like gonna start breeding.
He's slowly
it's
turning
like a
his whole house into a cat thing. And so he leaves the cat, and it's just like the whole episode is Ja interacting with this cat and like trying to like take really good care of the cat, and then Ja has a date.
Yes.
And he goes out on this date and they come home late and he's like, oh no, I've left my cat for so long.
Well, so they come back from this date and the girl who is like, she's clearly got it bad for Zing. Like clearly.
I mean,
which is fair.
Relatable.
It's 100% like a fair feeling to have in your heart. Like I get it. But also, so like, she goes to pet the cat because she's like, she can, because like cat daddies do love their cats. And so like this girl, I mean, to her credit, is like playing it. She's like, I'm going to go like snuggle up to the cat and it's going to be like a thing.
Yeah.
And Moojum scratches her. And Ja's character has told her like, be careful. He was abandoned by his previous owner. Like he's not good with people.
He's going through something.
He's just going through something. And like this relationship is very I'm gonna put this out there, like it's a non-sexual love. Like let's make this very clear.
Yeah.
And so it's not that he's like jealous from like a boyfriend point of view. It's not that kind of situation.
He just really loves his cat.
He just really loves his cat, and he's like taking care of this thing that he found on his doorstep in the rain, right?
Yeah.
Like, and
it's like a full Tool and his cat situation where he's like, he just loves this cat. Because like Tool's cat just like went through this like thing, and
Tool's cat has like some sort of infection. If you haven't seen this,
he like went through this whole thing. It was like we were bonding, but I had to do what was best for him and like send him away.
So Moojum scratches her, and like a couple other things occur, and then Ja's character ends up taking Moojum and like locking him in the bathroom because he's like being disruptive and he has a girl over.
Yeah.
And what's really funny is, and it's so funny, but it's also so believable.
The 1,000%.
Like, it's so relatable. It's like, it's so believable. Like I watched this and I'm like, I 9,000% believe this is how Ja would like not the character, not Zing, but how Ja would react. Like I don't know, like let's say that like Sancho is like annoying, so like somebody he's brought home, like I fully believe if he had to put Sancho in the bathroom, like this is his same reaction would happen here.
He'd be like, I'm sorry, can you
so he and this girl are about to go in the bedroom. They like open the door, they're like going in the bedroom, and he can like hear Moojum like meowing and scratching at the door or whatever. And he literally is like, I'm sorry, you have to go. Because he feels bad because he like yelled at the cat and has locked the cat in the bedroom. And the girl is like, oh no, like I think it's okay. And he's like, no, I need you to leave.
Yeah.
And it's honestly the most ridiculous thing in the world, because I know no man that would like quite frankly, that would turn away a hookup because their cat was meowing in the other room. But at the same time,
maybe JB from GOT7, because he has about 10 cats at this point.
Listen, JB is super rich and fancy. He would board the cats before a girl came over. Like, let's be completely real about how JB would handle that situation.
He just wouldn't have a girl over, let's be honest. He's already talked about how he brings nobody home because his house is like cat
He just
crazy.
has the girls at the studio.
Yeah.
Like, let's all also not be like not be gaslit by how JB is living his life.
True.
If you aren't, I'm gonna say, I feel like you understand this and you're not offended. In fact, you're probably like cheering. You're probably like, right? Because like whenever JB's first single got banned from Korean television because it was too racy, I cheered for him. I was like, this is everything he wants in his life.
Yeah.
But so anyway,
I was so happy for him. So Ja makes the girl leave.
He makes her leave, and he goes and he's like, I'm so sorry, Moojum. Yeah. And then they like cuddle, and it's like a cat daddy cuddle sitch.
This speaking to like the direction of this episode, it was shot so well because you get a lot of cute JaFirst moments, which I feel like Ja and First as a ship, speaking of ships again, is that they're just sweet friends. Like, you've seen the evolution of their friendship as as their ship, and I fully just like enjoy their interactions as like two guys that like to hang out with each other, and then like on screen they have this great chemistry and
They
passion.
have amazing chemistry.
But off like away from their characters, they're like the nicest, sweetest friends who are very comfortable with each other. And so like this episode gives you like that sweet like skinship, but it's like cuddling,
It's
and it's
innocent,
like
and
fun,
because one of them is a
playful.
cat.
Yeah. And they're just like it's truly like what you would imagine like a workshop exercise would be.
Right. It does seem like workshop. In fact,
Like Bilk and PP.
I would love to
workshop.
see somebody like take this and make it a workshop exercise. Like one of you is a cat and the other one is the owner, because it's so on brand for BL Boys. What show is coming out that we can imprint this on? What show is workshopping right now? There's got to be a show.
I feel like Boone Prim would do good at this.
Yeah, and they are workshopping
because Boone loves his bunnies. So
Right.
I feel like Boone would be a great bunny. Like Prem needs to like take care of.
Yeah, I feel like this should totally be a workshop exercise.
Yeah.
If I ever become a BL producer, it's gonna be like the one thing I like. That's gonna be like in my writer, like as a part of the workshop.
Yeah.
Please, I would like close friend.
I love it so much. So yeah, this episode, and this is just a nice episode to watch over and over. Like
It's really fun. And also,
Yeah.
can we talk about like Jaw's character is a like high power. He's got this beautiful home.
Yeah.
Like he's a man.
It's a very K-drama home.
Yeah.
Like that's what it reminds me of. Yeah.
Okay.
Next
episode. Willing or Not. Okay. Initially, this is my favorite close friend episode.
What?
Yeah, this is my favorite close friend. So initially, my favorite close friend episode was Just Friend, which is JaFirst.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Initially, JaFirst was my favorite because I just like, as I mentioned, I think that First Should EGOT, like he plays a cat so amazingly, whatever.
Yeah.
But I love Willing or Not. Like, I think this specific episode is amazing.
Yeah.
I love MaxNat in it. I love the
excellent
storyline. It's so funny and it's so cute. And I love that, like, I just love the dynamic. And this is when I go back and watch the most often.
Interesting.
I love this episode.
My mind is blown. I can't get away from the analogy of MaxNat being like Jacob imprinting in Twilight, because I feel like because MaxNat have known each other forever since Nat was literally a child, like 14 or 15.
Right.
And Max is 10 years older than him.
Yeah.
And their ship chemistry has been very like protective older brother.
Right.
And that's what this very much feels like. This episode truly like brought that into characters on screen. It's
really sweet. And it's also, I think what I like about it is it's actually really well developed.
Yeah.
And you watch both of them like get to different, like they get to the same point, but in different ways.
Yeah.
And I think that Max's character is very sweet, and the way like that he handles things and realizes things. And then like Nat's character is super funny and is really just like sweet, which is kind of what you expect from Nat.
Yeah.
Like, and so I love this episode. So the premise of this episode is that Nat, his character's name is Minnie.
So cute. Actually, doesn't Max give him that name?
No, it's like on his little name tag, Minnie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, he just makes him write it on the.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought that was a nickname that Max gave him for some reason.
No.
Okay.
So Minnie is Nat's character, and he's a freshman.
Yeah.
And it's Freshie Day, and he has to join some sort of athletic club.
Yeah.
And all of the like spots are taken, and they're like asking him what he likes to do, and then finally this senior is like, okay, you have to join judo club, right?
Yeah.
And he looks over, and it's so funny because Max is just sitting like cross-legged on a table, like very Karate Kid.
Yeah.
And his nickname is Godzilla.
Amazing. Of course it is.
Which I love. And he like rushes over to Minnie, and he's like, you have to join this club. And he like grabs his hand and makes him write his name on the sign-up sheet. And he's like, we're going to start training. He's like, have you ever even exercised before? And he asks him, which is like really funny. He's like, what, you don't like drinking your milk? Because he's small.
Yeah.
And it's just like really funny and like kind of aggressive, but like he's just like a senior and he's supposed to be like a national team athlete, hopeful. Right. And maybe I'm just really into this right now because I'm also really into You're My Sky. So this is like You're My Sky cute version.
Yes.
That's what this situation is.
I can see that.
You're My Sky, but cute line.
Yeah.
Domundi cute line, but like no basketball involved though. We're fighting each other, hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
And so they're training and he's like being pretty hard on Minnie and like he's making him do all these exercises and Minnie just like really like hates him for it. Right. He's like, freaking Godzilla, like he always finds me because he'll be like walking through the halls and he'll like grab his backpack and like drag him off to go exercise. But they're spending all this time together. Yeah. And you watch the reason I like the way that this is developed is there's a moment they're like, so after he's done all this exercise, there's a moment where finally, so you see two moments. There's one moment where Max's character flips Nat and, you know, like the like the, I don't know, judo flip. I don't know what it's called. I'm sure there's a name for the move. And he looks at him and he's just like, oh, are you okay? Yeah. And Nat's character, and he deadpans and he looks at the camera. So there, you've got like fourth wall breaking, which I always love because I think it's really funny. Right. And so he looks at the camera and he's like, you flipped me all this time and now you're asking if I'm okay? Right. Because he clearly doesn't get it. Like you as a viewer, you're like, oh, I see what's happening here. But like Minnie doesn't get it. And you're like, it's really there's funny. The BL. Yeah. And so I love that moment. And then there's another moment where after they have worked out all this time, when Minnie is finally able to flip Godzilla, like so Nat is able to flip Max, which I am dying to know how many takes and how long it took Nat to be able to actually do it. Right. But like he flips Godzilla and like you see this struggle and he flips him and you're like, oh my gosh. And you as a viewer in that moment, because the entire thing is told from Minnie's point of view. Right. And so you see in that moment, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of him. Like he's been working out so hard and he did it and he's like ready and he's going to go in this competition. Yeah. Right. And you're like so happy for him. And then you find out later that the reason he was able to actually flip him is because Max's character gets like distracted because like they're hand-to-hand combating and they're like close to each other, right? Like physically close. And like his heart starts fluttering and he gets distracted and that's why he was able to flip him. And that was when like he noticed that it like that he felt some kind of way for this kid. Yeah. And it's like a really sweet reveal later on because when you're watching it the first time through, you don't realize that's what happened. Right. And so it's a really nice reveal later on. This is a fun one. It's really fun. It's funny. It's sweet. It's like a classic BL, especially compared to the rest of the episodes in Close Friend. Right. This is your like traditional like BL storyline and it's cute and it's funny and it's like, I love it. They have good chemistry. I am trying to remember if I watched Close Friend before or after Y Destiny because their Y Destiny episodes were a little more intense on the like love story part. And so it was funny because MaxNat in and of themselves are such like soft, fluffy people as a ship. And so this truly fit these characters fit these boys just in like a different kind of plot situation. What's also interesting is if you're a MaxNat fan, which I am, Max looks really young in this. The way that they styled him, like he genuinely looks like he's in college. Mm-hmm. Which I feel like other times he doesn't. Like Max is a grown-up and you can tell he's a grown-up. Yeah, this is a sweet episode. I also enjoyed this episode. Yeah, this is my favorite one. Okay, so the next one we have is episode 4, Just One Life with Tillay and Yoon. There's not much to say about this episode. I think because like we watched it, I watched it multiple times and I still have no idea what's going on. Same. That's why I'm like, I have watched this so many times, and let
Maybe
me tell you when I struggle with this one.
And it's so appropriate. We're going to be talking to William soon about the cultural stuff, and maybe I need to go rewatch it and take notes because it's very culture heavy, right? It's very like Buddhist heavy. It talks a lot about karma and like coming back and like what like these like superstitions that you need to do to like do all these things.
I just still don't like what I struggle with is I don't understand their dynamic. And I don't understand, like, this ship and this chemistry. And I just, like, I don't.
And
it doesn't make sense to me. And I feel like maybe if I saw, like, a full-length BL, it would make more sense to me. Like, if this was, like, a full-length story. Because this is how I felt about Tay and Singto and Paint with Love. I was like, I don't get this. This doesn't make sense to me. This dynamic, this chemistry, it makes zero sense to me. And now that I'm so deep into Paint with Love, I'm like, I absolutely get this. I am on board.
Right.
But in this storyline, I'm watching them, and in a like these episodes are like 15 minutes?
Yeah.
15, 20 minutes?
If even that. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand this dynamic. Like, that's what I struggle with. Less so of the, like, cultural stuff and more so of the, like, I don't understand these two characters and their dynamic with each other.
Right.
So I feel like this is the only episode of Close Friend that I wish had been just, like, a full-length BL because the premise is interesting.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, and I like the two boys.
Right.
But I don't understand the characters. I don't understand their dynamic and their chemistry.
And so this ship comes from Triple Y or YYY.
Right.
This little show that like I started watching, but like got distracted by something else as I typically do if it doesn't like truly capture me. And so YoonTalay, because Tillay and Perth are a ship.
Right.
But then YoonTalay are a thing too.
Well, but so I'm not talking specifically about Yoon and Tillay. I'm talking about the characters.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't understand the chemistry and the dynamic between the characters.
Also,
in
like,
this
I couldn't figure out if they were like, if they were like actually in real life or if they were on a different plane.
Or if like, did Yoon die?
I don't know.
Like, that's what I was trying to, I was like, wait, is Yoon dead? Like, did he succeed? Did he succeed? Because it literally opens with him like trying to jump off a bridge.
Right. Because this girl broke up with him.
Right. And I'm like, is Tillay...
But Tillay's in love with Yoon.
But is Tillay a real person or is he like a fairy godmother type of situation?
I think that
is he like a spirit guide?
Are
they both dead?
Lord have
is he like a good... I am so confused by this one. Please, Lord, like, and I've watched it like 5 times. I truly have watched it like 5 times. I just don't understand this one.
We need to just get William to watch this and be like, explain to us.
Well, but okay, what I'm saying is like it's less about the cultural stuff for me. Like I thought that all was very interesting and rich and cool, and like I do want to watch
then
more of it.
There's like a maze thing.
Right. That's all super cool. I just cannot understand, are the characters alive? Are they dead? Are they is Tillay a real person or is he just like a spirit guide? Do they know each other previously? Like I cannot wrap my head around these characters.
Yeah.
Like it's very, very confusing for me.
I
feel like I need to watch this with Yoon and Tillay. Like, that's what I need. I need Yoon and Tillay sitting on either side of me and telling me, okay, now this has happened. Right. Now this has happened. Now this is who he is. Like, I literally need like a step-by-step instruction booklet for this one.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a manga or if this just was like a script.
I am so confused by it. And also, do we know he was dumped by a girl or is it just fan? Like, was he dumped by, like, a partner?
Well, they say her name. And, I mean, Charlene could be a boy. But, like, the person's name is Charlene.
Okay. I didn't pay that much attention to that because I was trying to figure out, like, who the hell these people were.
Because he has to write it on that stone. And when he throws it, he has to yell it. And and, like, he says it.
Yeah.
But we get, like, a cute little confession moment where, like, Tillay is like, you know, I wanted to like tell you that I liked you, but it's just too hard. But he like says it in subtext.
And so, right. And so I'm watching this and I'm like, are they both, I think they're both dead.
So they're like, ghost
And so
boyfriends.
did Tillay die earlier? Did Tillay die first? Or are they not both dead? Are they alive in this? It's all very confusing to me.
We should go watch it again.
I've watched it so many times and it's still confusing to me. I don't get it. If you get it, can you please comment and tell me if you get it, or like DM us, because I would love to get it. I want to get it. The heart is willing.
Yeah. Just one life. YOLO.
The heart is willing. I want to understand.
Okay, next one. We have the good old JimmyTommy in My Dear Star.
This is so cute.
This was an excellent episode.
This episode is so stinking cute.
I loved the like time period. It's like
a period drama. And I keep seeing people keep being like, the first period BL, the first period BL, for like so many new ones that are coming out. And I'm like, did y'all not watch He's Coming to Me? Like,
oh yeah.
Right, like, and also this is a period BL.
Yeah.
It is not modern times.
It's so retro. I love the like letter writing. It's so romantic without it being.
Yeah, so they're pen pals. So JimmyTommy played pen pals.
Yes.
In like the sweetest way possible.
Yes.
And they're writing back and forth. And I believe that it's Tommy that sends his picture.
Yes.
And Jimmy is like, oh, he's good looking. And they end up like he's like, do you have a phone in your house? So like this is, we're at a place where like there aren't phones in the houses.
Right.
And Tommy like calls him from the payphone.
And he has his bag of quarters.
Yes, and it's so precious. And then there's one time where like the payphone is broken, and so he can't call.
And they like send mixtapes back and forth.
And they send mixtapes to each
like
other. And they like, especially in the beginning, they're like, "What are you into? What are you into?" And he like sends him comic books.
Yeah.
So and they just like build this really sweet friendship.
Yeah, it like harkens back to this time where like people made a ton of effort to like truly like get to know someone on a real friendship level before anything romantic happens. Because like you can tell that they're both feeling the feelings, but like are just so invested in like their friendship with each other.
And at one point, Tommy's character asked Jimmy's character if he can like send him a picture of himself.
Yes.
And it's just like really sweet. And so the culmination of all, and the whole time you watch Tommy's character, which this was so nostalgic for me because I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I actually lived in South Korea as a kid. And as a kid, there are these, like, we don't have them in America, or we didn't. I don't know. Kids these days might have them. But like, you can buy it. It's like sheets of paper, and there are little strips that you can like pull apart, and they're all different colors, and you fold them into stars. So like you fold it and then you pinch the edges and they make little stars.
Okay.
And I used to do this. So like these were available like in Korea when I was a kid. And I used to make these things. And I surrounded by stars. I was obsessed with these things. Like, and so
I think the closest we had was like origami. Like origami made it here, but like the stars did not.
This little like star
those
situation.
Are so cute.
Right. And so I used to do those as a kid, and Tommy is doing them in and so the whole time they're like writing letters back and forth, and you're watching Tommy's character folding the stars.
Yeah.
At least I picked up on it really early. I was like, oh, he's folding the stars, because every time I see it in anything, I'm like, oh, yeah, right?
Did they do those stars in He's Coming to Me? There was a jar of things and He's Coming to Me. Was that stars?
Maybe.
I don't.
Oh my God, this is such a good excuse to rewatch He's Coming to Me.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so you're watching him the whole time make these stars. And so finally they decide they're going to meet up. They decide that Tommy's character is going to come to the big city.
The way that he asks is really cute. He's like, I don't know if your mom would be okay with it or not, but if you can come to Bangkok when your school is over.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cute.
Because at one point they were going to meet up, and like one of them has hurt his ankle.
Yes.
It's Jimmy. Right? Or no, it's Tommy has hurt his ankle, and that's why he can't go to the payphone, I think.
Yes.
Anyways, one of them has like hurt his ankle, and it's like a whole thing. And so finally he comes to the big city. He's coming to Bangkok. And he's waiting and waiting and waiting for Jimmy to show up, and he's like not there, and it's sad, and your heart is breaking. Like you're watching it and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, and you're just like, I truly was like about to cry in this moment. Like I was so upset about it. And you see next to him on the bench when he's sitting there waiting, this jar of stars.
Yeah.
And he gets up, like he finally is like about to give up, and
Yeah.
he bumps into someone, and it's Jimmy.
And he spills
the stars, and Jimmy's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." And he bends down and he's like helping him pick them up, and they haven't looked at each other yet.
Yeah.
And Tommy looks up and he realizes who he is. And Jimmy's character's like, "How many are there?" And he says, "There's 1,000. They're for you." And I just like, I swear to God. Like,
and then the scene after that is them like walking down the street and like in true Tale of a Thousand Stars, You're My Sky fashion, they're like hands.
Yes,
like,
we've got hands brushing.
Close.
We've got pinky.
And
we
then-
should have included this pinky touch.
We should
I
have.
mean, it's not anybody's fault that V and Dome are killing the pinkies at the moment.
100%. Which that's all they should do because these are children. And then we get like a sweet little hug from them, which JimmyTommy as a ship have just excellent chemistry as like these boys who have been doing their like ship for years now. And so it has been an evolution for me because I wasn't truly into it like when I first started watching like Why Are You? And after watching
they grew on me too. I wasn't into it the first time I watched Why Are You either.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then this was truly like a JimmyTommy awakening.
I will say Tommy grew on me first. Like Tommy got me first. I was like, oh, Tommy. Partially because I started looking into Tommy because when I found out that Frank had to go to the military, I was really concerned. It was like very difficult for me.
Yeah.
A friend of mine had like sent me the video of Frank drawing his red card.
Yeah. Not a friend.
And just like the look.
That sounds torturous.
No, she's my friend. She just, because I was really concerned about it. She was like, I mean, if you're like, you can just go for it.
Yeah.
And the look on his face, and like, I actually don't recommend looking up this video because like Frank is fine, you guys. He's fine.
Yeah.
But so I was like doing all this research. I was like, is he gonna be okay? And it was like really emotional for me because at the time, my first K-pop boy was still in the military. He hadn't gotten out yet.
Right.
And like anybody who's into K-pop knows when your first boy goes, it's a very emotional time. After that, when they start like, you know, dominoing in, you're like, oh, okay, it's gonna be fine. It's whatever.
Yeah.
But my very first K-pop boy was still in the military. So I was like already emotional about it because I was like, now my BL boys are going. And I was just like really emotional about it because I was like, I thought I was safe in this BL where I thought this was a safe space.
No.
And I had done all this research about like the Thai military and like what the training camp was like and all this stuff because I was like,
it's intense.
I was like really worried about Frank.
Yeah.
Because I really like Frank.
And so Tommy.
And so I found out Tommy has been in the military. And I was like, oh.
Tiny boy Tommy.
Tommy was in the military. And I was like, and Tommy was okay. And so then I started looking into Tommy to like see if I could find anything where he had talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't. But then
because the Koreans talk about it quite a bit.
Right. And so I was like, well, maybe there's something where he's talked about it. I couldn't find anything. But so then I started looking into Tommy and I'm like deep in on his Instagram and I'm deep on the YouTube and I'm like, and so Tommy got me first. And then when I started watching JimmyTommy interviews, they are so good together.
Yeah.
Like the two of them truly have great chemistry. And I mean, they are potentially the most iconic height difference in BL.
Oh yeah, probably.
I think they're the most iconic height difference in BL.
It's intense.
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy should just pick Tommy up.
Right. I mean, it's iconic.
Yeah. That Why Are You beach scene where it's like, oh, there's gonna be like real spine damage in this situation.
Right, because poor Tommy is like, and then poor Jimmy is like,
but yeah, this is a sweet story.
It's really sweet and it's retro and it's like cute and it's very JimmyTommy. There's a little Easter egg that harkens back to Why Are You with the little Union Jack pillow.
Yes. Yeah. I'm excited for JimmyTommy's new show. I'm excited for them to get their own show because, you know, they got cut from Why Are You. Like their little storyline got cut short from Why Are You and they got their like little mini series to kind of make up for that. And so now I'm excited.
And then they had Peach of Time, which was just like a huge bummer.
They went to Korea and Jimmy got another boy that Tommy had
basically
to watch.
the whole thing was just a huge bummer.
Very sad. So I'm excited for them to get this new show, which is like, is it an intern storyline? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember. Anyways, okay, let's continue.
Okay,
on.
next episode.
My favorite episode that I truly have watched 100 times because y'all, KimCop is truly one of my top ships. Like Kim and Copter. When I first got into KimCop, I watched anything and everything they did because like I got into Gen Y, and Gen Y was a vehicle for KimCop. It was like a full BKPP project situation. And they had been together for 5 years, and they finally got this project together. So there was like a ton of ship work from them leading up to Gen Y. And so I went like deep into the KimCop. So this episode for me was wonderful too because okay, so the whole premise is that Kimmin plays Jedi, who's this idol, which like if you are an SB5 fan like I am, do they have a fandom name?
I don't know.
I need to look into that. Then you will truly like appreciate Kimmin being an idol. And so Kimmin plays an idol, and Ray, played by Copter, is a huge fan. And this, as like fangirls, that like this spoke to my heart because
I also love the dynamic switch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in everything leading up to this, Kimmin is the one always going after Copter. Kimmin is the pursuer. Yes.
Right.
And in this, Copter is like full fanboy. He's like fully in love with Jedi. And so Ray wins this competition, and he gets this VR headset, and this is truly like I think because I just like I want this for myself. Like the idea that like I get a VR headset where I can like interact with my favorite like idol boy, and then potentially he has insight into these interactions.
Right. So like the storyline is that Ray has won this like trivia competition.
Right.
And he's like a top fan. And he gets this VR headset, and he's interacting with Jedi, P-Jedi.
Yes. Oh.
And you find out, or you realize, or you like get later on, much later on, you realize that like Jedi can watch the footage back essentially.
You don't know, but you know
right.
he like because at some point Jedi is like, if you talk to me in real life, like I'll know who you are.
Yeah.
Like you just have to make that interaction.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's wild to me. I don't actually want that.
I would love that.
I would never want that.
And so Ray works at this coffee shop, and that's where he encounters Jedi IRL. And that's where he's having these conflicting feelings.
Because Jedi walks in, and he goes to order coffee, and he says he wants an Americano double shot, and Ray finishes the order for him, and he kind of like gives him like a little side eye, and he's like, yeah, I just heard what you said.
Yeah. And so this story progresses, and the moments that Ray and Jedi have in the VR headset are so sweet and so wholesome, and like there's cuddling, and Jedi is being incredibly like flirty, and there's a line which I like screenshotted and send you multiple times, and it's like Jedi says something he's like what do you want to do with me, and Ray is like, if you keep talking like this, I'm having moral thoughts. I truly so good. And so you get like KimCop cuddling, you get KimCop kisses.
There's a kiss.
You get like you get forehead kisses, you get like all the KimCop sweetness.
I really appreciate Ray's bedroom because it's like there's a Kim in cardboard cutout, which how do I get this? Who do I need to talk to get this Kim in cardboard cutout?
My room may or may not look like Ray's room in this at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like truly this is so iconic, like because this is what our house looks like.
Yeah.
So like full disclosure, I feel like everybody who's picked up on this, we live together.
Yeah.
And the ships episode, we made visual aids. They're literally hanging in the hallway now.
Yeah.
So like truly this is like my house.
It's so stupid. True.
So I just really like identify, like I walk through the hallway now and there's like counter turbo. Like
I mean, as it should be. Like I got into mixed tiles, and whenever like Pentagon would do anything, I would send a mixed tile version to Ayla, and at some point she was like, please stop sending me mixed tiles because
I
have
literally
no more
ran out
wall
of wall
space.
space.
Which is funny because I moved into the room that has the mixed tiles, so now they're just like in my room.
Yeah, you get to watch Pentagon watching me.
Amazing. It's true. And so Ray's room is very
Anyways,
true
I
to
really
life.
appreciate Ray's room
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like true like fanboy.
What cardboard cutout BL boy would you want?
War.
Oh, right, true.
That's so easy.
If you
Why
guys,
is that even a question?
If you guys know how to make a cardboard cutout, let me know, because for Ayla's birthday in August, I should have a cardboard cutout of War made.
I'm not going to say the thing that I want to say, but I think you know what I want to say.
Yeah.
Okay. More news to come?
Because yes. Spoiler, more news to come. Because I for the longest time had a cardboard cutout of Zac Efron gifted to me from.
I had some One Direction cutouts.
Speaking of retro, from Blockbuster, friends of mine bought Zac Efron during High School Musical 3 era and gifted him to me for my 23rd birthday.
Yeah, I for sure would go for a War cardboard cutout. But like, really, this is can I have like a rotating cardboard cutout? Because like War is my ultimate, but can I like rotate out my cardboard cutouts? Because like right now, I want a Su'a cardboard cutout.
I mean, I think Su'a would be a great addition to the living room because we both fully are obsessed
with Su'a.
Yeah.
Again, like shout out for our interview with the You're My Sky Boys. Like you should watch it because like.
It's coming out the week, or when is this? When is it coming out?
2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Because if you're interested in watching Beth Ann and I like somewhat scuffle over this boy.
It's so
like,
good.
We both are like angling to talk to him like every single question.
True.
We're both like, oh yeah.
We like split
you guys.
We like split our time with him.
Yeah.
Fully obsessed.
Wait, who would you want a cardboard cutout of? You can have two. You can have your like ultimate, and then you can have like whoever your rotating boy is right now.
Oh, right. Who's my go-to? This is my problem, is that I don't commit to just one boy.
That's what I'm saying. You can have your like ultimate, and then you can have a rotating boy.
I mean the one that I'm like fully in love with right now is Kawana. He has done something to me.
So is Kawana your rotating boy, or is he your like all the time?
He'd be my all the time.
Okay.
And then like Su'a would for sure be
Su'a. So we have to wait. Do we get two Su'a cardboard? Do we get two Su'a cardboard cutouts, or do we get one and we share Su'a? Are we sharing Su'a?
It would be a full like fathead situation on the wall. You know, like the sports.
And we like move him around.
No. He just would like live on the wall somewhere.
I swear to God, I'm gonna get that made and it's gonna be back here. Like, just wait next episode.
Well, and the funniest part about this is the fact that like
I fully would do that
because we've talked to these actors, like we've had interactions with them. So
I'm still fully obsessed.
It's a little weird to like talk about them as fans. Like there's that moment
I am
where it's
fully Su'a's fan. Like I will buy anything he's selling me.
Yeah. We've gushed about him on stories, and he's fully seen it and like restoried.
And I have zero shame about it. Like you guys, this Worldwide is doing these little like vacation episode things.
Yeah.
And one came out the other day, and Su'a is wearing like a backwards baseball hat in it, and literally we're watching it at 3 a.m. It's 3 a.m, and I full body screamed. And my poor neighbors were probably like, what is happening in Ayla's apartment right now? And it was Su'a. Su'a was happening in Ayla's apartment right now.
Okay. So
anyways, KimCop.
Yes, we got distracted as we do. So this episode ends with Ray spilling coffee on Jedi, and Ray is really going through it because he's like, the interactions IRL are not what I'm having on this VR headset. And so he goes,
like, I have this relationship that's fake.
Yes.
It's very similar to, I feel like, what a lot of fans went through with Lovely Rider. At the end of Lovely Rider, you know how a segment of fans that watched that show were like, I was gaslit. This whole thing was fake. This is all a lie.
Yeah.
That I was made to believe was real. That's kind of what Ray goes through.
Yes. And so he's going through it, sitting on the ground in the back of this coffee shop, and Jedi comes to him and is like, "You're Ray, aren't you?" And they have this sweet little moment.
And he's like sitting on the ground.
Yeah.
And
And
Kim like kneels down. It's very sweet.
And he finally is like, no, I know who you are. Like, I just have to be cool about it.
Yeah, he's like, be cool, bro.
This is like every fan.
He's like, I need you to have some like chill.
Yeah. It's like you like meet your idol in some kind of like fan sign situation, and then they're like, I want to hang out with you.
I want to hang out with you.
But like we got to be cool about it.
It's every fan's like true
It's
dream.
like early days Tay from BTS, where like he may or may not have become friendly with like one of his fans on social media, and they were like, boy, you got to be cool.
They were like, we need you to be cool. Like, can you please have some chill?
So then that kind of is how the episode ends, this like sweet little forehead touch between like Jedi and Rey.
It's so sweet.
And so season 2, as we've already mentioned, is going to be Ohm's character producing something for Jedi's character, and then for
you have the
Kim's
two boyfriends.
character, and then you have the two boyfriends, and it's like their worlds colliding, and we'll see what happens. And
they have a little like song and some choreography that was done by one of our favorite choreographers, Nettie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of Yinwar.
Yeah. Nettie of Yinwar.
Of Yinwar. And they had like a cute little press conference. Yeah. And as someone who loves to see my like all of our boys interacting with boys that they don't interact with, like for this to be like a Star Hunter and a Newsfinity / whoever Fluke is affiliated with, like to see these boys interacting, which who would normally interact with, like I love those moments.
Yeah. It's gonna be really good. I'm really excited about season 2.
Yeah. They just did the like worship ceremony.
Yeah.
And so potentially they're like workshopping.
Maybe they'll workshop the cat scenario.
Oh my God. Fluke would be roll into that.
Yeah, but Fluke is the cat daddy and Ohm is the cat.
Oh, interesting.
Because Fluke is Ohm's pee.
Yeah. So yeah.
And Fluke is like a grown-up in the real life.
True.
Yeah.
But
and by the way, it's Kimmin who's 30. I was like, somebody in this situation is 30. It's Kimmin.
Don't tell him that.
Kimmin.
So yeah, this KimCop episode was truly my favorite. I watched it endlessly. I love KimCop so much, and I'm excited that they got their own series. It's gonna be like 8 episodes, I think. It's gonna be like a whole season. I mean, if you were to pick a story to see more of, which one would it be?
YoonTalay, because make it make sense. Truly, no, because like it's a really interesting premise. Yeah. I just don't get it. And I want to. Again, the heart is willing.
I love it. I would like to see more JimmyTommy.
That would be a good expansion.
I want more of their of Tommy moving to Bangkok, maybe for college, and them like navigating like rural boy with city boy.
Okay, Tale of a Thousand Stars. But like opposite.
But like what I want for season 2 of Tale of a Thousand Stars, where like Earth has to come into the city and like live in Mix's world.
We all know there's no season 2 of Tale of a Thousand Stars.
No, I know.
Okay.
Just like we know that there's no more Bad Buddy.
Okay, and we just lost all our subscribers.
Listen, GMMTV has so many shows to do in 2022. Like, I don't know.
No, I mean, we know what's coming out in 2022.
Yeah.
Who's to say what will happen in 2023?
It's true. I feel like GMMTV surprises us constantly.
They truly do.
Okay, so buy our merch.
Yes, we have merch. Buy our merch, hang out with us, tune in the rest of the month, because as we have alluded to, there are some funny moments coming up.
Yeah.
And this has been Let's Talk BL. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and keep up with all things Let's Talk BL at Let's Talk BL. See you next time.